Hey everyone, welcome back to the Old Music Matters That podcast. I'm your host Brian. Join me today. It's Frank, metal band Edge of Chaos. How you doing, brother?
All right, you?
Not too bad. Actually, where are you guys hailing from?
Vineland, New Jersey.
I had to ask, are you guys close to? I'm trying to remember because I actually interviewed Rang of the Hated last week, and I was actually curious. Are you guys close to where they live, or are you guys
I
different
believe we're
partners?
about 2 hours away.
Something like that? Have you guys ever got together before?
Oh, yeah. We played a bunch of shows last year together.
Oh, that's so cool. You know what? I was trying to remember too because I do remember Kay. He was always talking about some of the shows they would do, like out either in their front yard or backyard too. So I wasn't sure. Did you guys come to like one of those sort of festivals, or was this like one of those gigs in one of the bars?
We played a bunch of bars and clubs together.
All right, that's all cool. So I guess how you do? How you been recently? I guess what's the band been up to?
We just played The Strain a couple weeks ago. For a big mental health benefit, First Step Forward. Other than that, we've been writing.
You guys getting ready to do a new album pretty soon?
Yep.
All right, that sounds pretty cool. I was just checking out your music not too long ago. It sounds very kick-ass, and you get to elaborate on it a little bit more too. But Frank,
Well, thank you.
I want to welcome you to my podcast, and the way this is going to work is just going to ask you some questions right here, and we're going to get to know you more both as the musician, but also as the individual too, and then you can elaborate on the band as well. So,
Yep.
all right, so ready to roll?
Yep.
All right, so for the first question, let's start with you specifically. I guess first off, what instrument do you play, and I guess how'd you, become a musician?
I play guitar and I do the vocals. Mostly rhythm guitar. I became a musician because when I was 15 years old, Fade to Black came on the radio. And that outro solo, I want to do that. And it started me of a journey down Metallica. I learned to play guitar through Metallica. And now we're here. 16 years later.
It's already been 16 years already.
Yeah.
You say Ride Lightning was actually your biggest inspiration?
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
That
believe it or not,
entire album.
Yeah, I was going to say I heard Escape last night, just at least for a little bit too, before I had to pull into my second job. So I can see what you mean too. That song was absolutely killer.
Oh, Escape is such a killer song, and everybody hates it.
I should say they hate it. The fans love it, but
James hates it.
Yeah, James Hetfield hates it. So I think the story was like they just needed like one more song to like put it all together. And
so they crapped it out, and then James was like, I don't want to play that.
And it was a killer song too. And everyone was like, let's hear Escape. And it's like, what the hell? And I forget what year he actually did do it, but it was like whatever festival or concert.
2012 Orion Fest.
Orion Fest, that's what it was. He was like, here's a song you all been wanting, but we're just gonna play it once, and that's it.
Here's the song we never thought we'd ever play live.
Is it exact words or anything like that? This guy does his Metallica history too, so I guess are they still touring with Pantera?
I don't know who they're touring with currently. When I saw them, it was Pantera.
Let's say, a friend of mine, Sean, he actually went to go see him, as well as actually a separate friend of mine too, and said the show was absolutely badass. So,
it was great.
I guess what do you make the whole thing with Pantera reforming with Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante?
In honor of the Abbotts, I get it. Zakk Wylde was probably the only person they could get to do it. Anybody else wouldn't have been right.
He did always say Saint Dime as a matter of respect too. That's good.
Him and Dime were brothers.
Yeah, taken too soon. That's always a damn shame.
Yep.
I guess speaking of these guitar players too, would you say these guys were your biggest influences growing up?
Yeah, Hetfield, obviously. Randy Rhoads. Vivian Campbell, I've always loved. The Beatles have always been a big influence. But the big two would be Hetfield and Hammett.
I see. I guess were your parents real big collectors of like vinyl and CD way back in the day?
No, I'm the only musician in my family. The first musician. My parents were always were children of the 80s. So they got to grow up with Metallica and all that, but my mom mostly listened to country.
The Conway Twitty and all those guys.
90s 20, like Blake Shelton, Montgomery Gentry.
Okay, I see. Actually, I always had to laugh with my dad because he'd always collect like good amount of music that came out of the 60s, 70s. Not a whole lot from the 80s. He knew about Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and actually Metallica was like the farthest he would go with like the thrash. He wouldn't go like anywhere further with Slayer or anything else, even though he heard about him, but he just never got into it. So you can see why. But those 70s, they knew how to rock, that's for sure too.
Yep.
That's all good. So I guess let's go ahead and talk about the band a little bit too. So I guess can you list all the band members first and who does what, and then elaborate on the history a little bit with a beginning, middle, and end?
There's Johnny Blair. He plays the drums. Andrew Holbert plays the bass and is the newest member currently. Greg Henderson plays guitar. And I'm Frank Birkner. I do the vocals and rhythm. We started out under a different name 2015 as Reckless X. We had a couple lineup shifts, music direction change. So about 5 years ago, we decided to go under Edge of Chaos. And we've been trucking since. We've opened for Ripper Owens in the last few years. Green Jello. Got 2 albums out, A Man Called Martyr, and our newest one, Invictus, which you can find anywhere you stream your music. And we're currently in the starts of writing a 3rd album.
All right, that's super killer. I guess, how'd you guys meet? Did you guys just meet online one day, or did you meet in school?
So I have a friend who was jamming with him as a cover project who kept bugging me, hey man, come jam with him, come jam with him, come jam with him. I'm already in a band. I was in a stoner band, Slaw, at the time. And finally I went just to shut him up. And then John and I just like kind of clicked instantly, and it was, oh, okay. And we started practicing regularly and started writing our own stuff. Now we're here.
I'm going to say, I think that friend of yours did he grow up to be like a fortune teller afterwards? Because he probably saw the future, like how that whole thing was going to form out.
Maybe. Maybe.
That's
I think he just kind of wasn't interested in the project and wanted to find a replacement and just kind of slide out.
I'm just going to slide over here this way.
Yep. I owe him the world, though, for it.
Oh, absolutely. And look what it came out. That's all.
Yep.
I guess Reckless Sex. I guess whose idea was that?
Reckless X.
X, okay, sorry.
Yeah. That's kind of why we changed the name.
Just keep getting it wrong. I guess whose idea was it? Because I guess, was that kind of based on like...
I don't even remember whose idea it was now.
I guess you know whose idea it was for Edge of Chaos, or was it just...
That was mine.
Was it?
Yeah. Because I'm a big math nerd, and Edge of Chaos means the space between order and disorder in a given array of data. And it's also a really cool name.
Hey, it's like, that's so metal, man. And like, oh, you just pulled it out of a math sort of thing.
Yeah.
I love it. It's always funny when they talk about like metal musicians too. They always think you're the rebellious type that always not very smart. They're not doing anything like that. That's like the typical stereotype. And you find out you're the nicest people ever. And you're also incredibly smart at times.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell, man? Why are you stereotyping me like that?
I mean, Brian May's an astrophysicist.
Well, that too, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's fair. So, I always keep forgetting about that too. And actually, did they say anything like how's he been recently? Because I haven't really seen any articles that talked about Brian May at all.
I haven't either.
Oh well. Hopefully he's doing well.
No news is good news.
I mean, that's normally a saying. So let's hope so. So keep out, Brian. Keep shredding out there, bud. So, I guess we go and jump into this question right here. I guess, what is it that you loved most about music, I guess, growing up?
Music has always been an outlet especially metal for like anger and aggression. The sense of brotherhood that it tends to foster at shows and stuff. Metal can have some, well, not so great fans, but for the most part, all the metalheads I've met are amazing people. I guess my goal with music is just to try and touch people the way their music has. Metallica was such a big turning point in my life, and it's meant so much to me. Music, it's just an incredible way to express yourself.
Absolutely. It's funny we keep talking about Metallica because I would say the one that really got me with Metallica was actually No Remorse.
Oh, that riff is so good.
Just that, like, I want to say 53 seconds because I think that's how long it is until it like jumps into like the verse riff right there.
Yep. That band.
And then Dave Mustaine. I don't think Mustaine played on that one. No, that was, I think, the Kirk Hammett the whole way. Okay.
Depends on if you talk about the demo or the album.
Oh, good question.
I don't remember if No Remorse was on No Life to Leather.
I didn't think so. I know Hit the Lights.
I don't think so.
I wanted to say, I think it was only 4 Mustaine was on that they kept on the Kill 'Em All album. So I think it was
Hit the
Metal
Lights,
Militia.
The Mechanics,
which
is what it was known as back then.
And then it became the 4 Horsemen, and then Mustaine just kept Mechanics.
And also the Mechanics.
Yeah. I mean, he was bitter as hell after getting kicked out of the band at that.
Was.
Still
is.
In a little bit, but he's at least cooled down somewhat. I think they finally, it's water under the bridge at this point, so to speak.
Yeah, I think so.
That's good. And actually, he's really shredded. I think Mustaine did a lot better with Megadeth than he has, like,
oh yeah,
when it was in Metallica. Even nowadays too. I'd say his music kicks a lot more ass than Metallica's newer stuff.
Yeah.
Would you agree or no? It's like Night Stalkers and the.
I'm in a weird space with Megadeth. I absolutely love the music, but his voice. What do you mean?
Actually, I think I can say what you made too a little bit too, especially when you listen to like Lucretia. It's like,
yeah,
somehow it doesn't fit, but yet somehow it fits. So it's almost like,
not a huge fan of the music, not the biggest fan of Dave's voice.
Yeah, I can see why, but hey, it works, so can't really complain about that.
Oh yeah,
that's all good. And I guess to get to one of the serious questions too, I guess how bad did COVID impact you guys first?
Other than not really being able to play shows, not that much. We were all frontline workers. So if we were going to be exposed, I wasn't going to be at practice every weekend. So we still got together, practiced. The bulk of the second album was written over COVID and recorded over COVID. So other than doing shows, not really. We all worked all the way through the pandemic.
And hey, we're still standing right here, so did something right. And so in a way of saying it was sort of a blessing in disguise. So I guess did you guys have any brushes with it?
Not until 2022-ish, 2021, 2022. I got it in May of 22. Other than that, I think I'm the only one in the band that's had it.
I'm going to say were you bar hopping? Because that's what happened with me.
No, I think I got it at work.
The one place you at least expect to get COVID happened to be at the workplace.
Well, I work in a school, so if it's going around, I'm going to get it.
I see. The flu bug, too. I guess also with the cold, too. That's why it spreads all at the school and everything, too. So
I just got done with a cold.
And then, boom, get hit in the face with COVID afterwards, too.
Yeah.
That must have been rough. Actually, were you okay, or did you have any sort of fevers? Did they put you on those little, they call them Paxlovids, or whatever the medication is?
I was running 105-degree fever for like 3 days straight.
Oh, God.
Nothing would touch it. Then like day 4, I was fine. I just had a cough.
Just like that, it was gone.
It was just like, you're going to die for 3 days, but then you're going to be fine.
Or in this case, on the 3rd day, he rose again. That sort of thing, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it too. Hey, that's kind of what happened. So
Yeah.
nobody would have said just jump in that shower and just run that hot water till you can't bear it anymore.
I was bad. I could barely walk.
Yeah, I can say to me too. Actually, when I had it, I literally got out of bed and threw on my sweatpants. And literally just pulled the covers up close to about my neck right here and just literally created friction the whole time just to like try to knock it out. So
I think I just slept.
just
I
like
think I just slept for like 3 days.
actually someone comes in, just do like cable one, just be like, who disturbs my slumber? That sort of thing.
I don't think I was even lucid enough to do that.
Fair enough. But it's good to see you doing well.
I think I communicated solely in
That sort of thing. Do the whole moaning.
Mm-hmm.
I can see. All right. But it is good to see you made it through. So it's good to have you along here, mate. So I guess since we got COVID out of the way, I guess talk about your music in general a little bit, I guess. From some of the thing, or at least the description I was saying, you guys seem to label yourself as a groove metal band. Is that how you describe your genre?
It's the closest thing. I'm not a big fan of the 20,000 subgenres of metal, but groove metal works. We don't tend to focus on heaviness or speed more. Does the music have a groove to it? Can you move to it? Does it have a cool feel? The easiest way we've found to describe ourselves is we're what happens when Metallica and Lamb of God have a baby and send it to Uncle Judas to raise.
I think I could say it. Yeah, I could say it. Or is it like one of those things like slide to the right, slide to the left, that sort of thing?
We've also gotten a Bullet for My Valentine meets Lamb of God.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that how some of your critics kind of describe your music too?
Oof.
Or are they a lot
Depends on
harsher?
what era of Bullet you're talking about.
So I guess what's the worst you've got and what's the best sort of?
What's the worst we've gotten?
Just say this music sucks. That
Sounds like Dying Cats.
Dying Cats. I mean, I didn't get that, so I don't know what they were listening to. So
The best we've gotten probably is Randy Bly Would Be Proud.
you
You
ever met
got.
Lamb of God?
I met Randy in a truck stop in New Jersey. It was the tour they were doing with Testament, Anthrax, Slayer, and Lamb of God. I met him and Chuck Billy as they were going to the show from surfing for the day.
Oh man! Oh wait, did you get a selfie? Oh, tell me you got a selfie.
I did not get a selfie.
Oh,
That's not my first thought when I get a picture. When I meet someone is picture.
picture.
It was really cool though.
I would say at least get the conversation rolling. Be like, hey, can we get a quick picture real quick? I want to show some of my friends get all jealous and all that stuff too.
My drummer was there with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds so killer. I was trying to remember too, because I remember there was actually, I live close to the city, Pittsburgh actually, and I think there were two concerts that were happening on the same day at two different venues, and one had Lamb of God with Megadeth, then Testament, and I think they actually had Death Angel and Exodus.
Oh wow.
You know what? I couldn't make up my mind, and unfortunately it was a work day too. So so I guess if you had between those two, whichever venues are close by to your neck of the woods, I guess which one would you go to?
Well, I've seen Lamb of God a bunch of times. I've seen Megadeth a couple times. I would probably go with Exodus because I haven't seen them.
I forgot to mention In Flames. I think In Flames was with Lamb of God and Megadeth too.
It would still be Exodus. I haven't seen Exodus yet.
Good choice. Yeah, actually, I think Gary Holt did reunite with after his whole stint with Slayer. Is that what he did?
Yeah, he went back to Exodus.
Okay, that sounds good. I know he's a great player too.
Oh yeah,
that probably would have been awesome. Though for me, I think I would have probably done it to see Testament actually. So I say I have like Testament.
Oh, they are so good live.
Are they?
Yeah.
To see Skolnick, right? Is that how you pronounce his name?
I believe so.
Alex Skolnick, yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to see him shred. That'd be so awesome.
Oh.
All right. But I guess Do you also contribute lyrics to your music as well, or do you guys like?
Yes,
Okay, so
I do
guess
the lyrics.
you strictly, or do you write first and then like they just do like peer review and that sort of stuff?
They don't really.
They don't really give a shit.
No. And it's like, this is reflecting on you guys. Yeah, but like they're good, so use them. Like, okay.
Okay. I mean, no, I thought it was something by committee. I mean, I know people tend to break up because of creative differences.
Nah.
No?
They're just happy to do their parts. I guess. I don't know.
I was gonna say, whenever you do approach a new song, do you write the lyrics first, or you try to get the music down and try to see how the
Music
lyrics go?
first.
Music first.
Music first. And then I'll fill in the lyrics by syllable based on the vocal melody that I have in my head.
Makes sense.
Da, 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 da.
I guess, did you try doing lyrics first and then throw in the music afterwards?
It always feels like the lyrics are an afterthought when you do that, and you're like trying to shoehorn it in where they won't fit. So, music more important anyway.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense too. Otherwise, I think it's like one of those songs like you have to like breeze through like a line like real quick. And, like some of those groups too, are like that sort of thing too.
Yeah.
Actually, Kurt Topsy would be a good example of that too. So
Yeah.
especially with how crazy their dynamics and everything are too. So I can see why. So I guess let's see. I guess talk about the gear you guys use. And I guess if you want to talk about your microphone and guitar and everything too. So go ahead.
Okay. I use a 6505. Boosted with an analog man King of Tone. Marshall cab with V30s and G12s. Our other guitarist uses a Marshall. I believe it's the JVM. No, I think it's the DSL 100. Into a Marshall cab with the same speakers. Guitars, my main guitar right now has been the LTD Snakebite I bought. Usually I play Jackson Kelly's because Explorer shapes are comfortable. I also use the rack with a TC Electric G series in it for multi-effect, just so I can switch channels and everything with one button rather than doing the old pedal tap dance. Our other guitarist uses a Jackson Monarch and a couple of other Jackson guitars. We really like Jacksons. Sponsor us, please. Our drummer uses a, Tama kit. Do not remember which one. Microphone-wise, we all use Shure microphones. I use the Super 55, and they use the 58 series. Our bassist uses a Spectre bass and a PRS bass, and his amp is a Dark Glass. He uses a Dark Glass amp and cab. That's about it. We have really simple rigs, really.
That does sound a little bit simple, but I don't think I ever heard about Jackson before. Obviously, I hear about Fender and all some of the bigger bands too, I guess. Is Jackson relatively new, or they've been around a while?
Jackson guitars got big in the 80s. Jackson started out because Randy Rhoads. So Jackson was started by Grover Jackson, who also owned Charvel. Randy Rhoads wanted a custom guitar from him. He didn't feel like it fit the Charvel brand, so he put his last name on it. And Jacksons have been around since the 80s. Kirk Hammett played a Jackson. His Randy Rhoads. Bunch of people have played Jacksons. They've been around for a while.
That's interesting. Actually, that explains why Kirk Hammett was able to shred the way he does throughout the 80s there. That's all good. I guess who does the recording for you guys? Do you guys go in the studio, or do you guys do like your own little home studio?
We do.
You do? Oh man, it sounds so killer. I guess who puts it? You put it together, or I guess who does it?
I mostly engineer and mix it.
I was gonna say, do you do that on the side?
Generally just for us.
So I guess what sort of gear do you use trying to put it all together? I guess what's your DAW?
Reaper.
You're a Reaper too.
Reaper. I love Reaper.
It's starting to grow. I think it's a lot more. They should take the industry standard off Pro Tools, to be honest, and say Reaper's now the new industry standard. Because I've been talking to a lot of people. They're saying Reaper.
It's a good program. It costs $60 for a license.
And then it's all yours to kind of do what you want.
Yeah.
I would say I actually use a Mac, so I'm assuming you're a Windows guy too.
Mm-hmm.
I used the Mac, and I ended up getting Logic, which seemed to be a good idea because since it comes with it too, it was only $200. Then it's like the same with Reaper. You just do what you want afterwards. So
yep.
I can see why, but to each his own too. So I guess was it a little hard at the beginning with like knowing everything? Did you have to go on YouTube to do all the tutorials and everything?
Oh yeah, I still have to. But I've learned. Spectre Sound, Glenn Fricker's channel, has been a big help
The whole
in
fuck
learning
you,
how to
Glenn.
record. Yep. Yeah, fuck you, Glenn. That channel's been a big help in learning how to record metal.
That's for sure. Yeah. I actually did try to reach out to him too, see if he wanted to come on. I really wish I could get him on the podcast. That'd be so awesome.
Come on, get on the show, Glenn.
We got to show him this. Show him this little clip. And see if that kind of pokes him the right way.
Fuck you, Glenn.
Yeah. I love the guy.
Me too.
But he also does like that whole thing where I guess other studio managers or I guess entrepreneurs too are also trying to get into music too. He'll like show people who send like these crazy tweets, be like, "Hey, I'll promote you if you just let me come in your studio for free and just do all this shit stuff." I think there was only one time he actually did call somebody out for it, for being like a real dick to somebody. So
yeah,
good on Glenn. So that's all good. People, make it happen. Tell Glenn to come on the podcast. All music matters in that. Let's make it happen. I'll happily do it. I'll do whatever I can.
That'd be a cool interview.
It would be. So I'll say we can make it happen. But getting back into some of the questions right here, and I guess we'll lead into this one. What advice would you give to other musicians who are perhaps just starting out too?
Just play together as much as you can. Know when you're ready to go out, but play together as much as you can. Learn as much as you can from each other. Because I found the quickest way to get better at being a musician is to play with musicians who are better than you. You will learn so much quicker.
That's good.
Other than that, the biggest thing is, unfortunately, music is not enough to sell. Music is not an entertainment product, really. It's a lifestyle product. Image is just as important as the music. Unfortunately, more so sometimes. But play as much as possible. The stronger you are together, the better off it'll be.
Yeah, absolutely too. And I actually did bring this up in a couple of my interviews where I would say music is so essential to society, but it's also the hardest thing, which is like one of the harder things to do, especially because like talk about pay too. You got to like promote yourself so much. You got to try to like, go out there. You got to start off small, like just even going to like a certain bar, for instance, probably like one of those smoke joints.
Open mic nights.
Oh, we have mic nights too.
Those still happen.
So I guess do you just tour in around New Jersey, or do you just try to stick like a little closer to home?
So this year, we haven't left New Jersey much. We've been to PA. Last year, we did a week-long tour around like the tri-state area. Other than that, we mostly stick to like PA, New Jersey, Delaware for right now. New York's just really hard to get into, period.
I mean, New York was known for the music scene, like growing up back then in the early 90s. So
yeah,
it's almost like you have to like, have like a whole lot of prerequisites in order to get into any of those ones.
Yeah, it's one of those, you got to find a friend who plays in New York and have them beg the promoter to get you on.
Then it's like, I know a friend who knows another friend.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So, yeah. But New York has produced a lot of great music over the years.
It has.
Cannibal Corpse.
Anthrax,
Suffocation.
Yep.
And I always struggle with this. I always get tongue-tied. Malevolent Creation. There we
Yep.
go. Want to make sure I pronounce that right. Cannibal Corpse. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
you got a whole bunch. I mean,
Yeah.
West could go on. So I can see why. I guess, do you ever go to Baltimore in Maryland there?
We have not played there yet.
Maybe something for next year, I guess. Would you
Yep.
put that on your bucket list? Or I guess, what's your plans for, I guess, 2024, I guess? So you guys going to do any more shows in December?
Probably not, no. We're
Just
just going
chill.
to spend the rest of the year writing, recording, focus on doing shows next year.
That sounds good. I guess when you do come to Pennsylvania, is it more like Upper PA, or you try to get somewhere closer to Philly?
So we've played in Ardmore, Oil City. We've done Philly a couple times. A little bit all over. We would love to go out to Pittsburgh.
I think we can make it work. I mean, doesn't hurt to try to do something. Come
Yeah.
on out.
We're down.
I mean, I don't know how it works. In fact, I don't know how you would get like here, like say Mr. Spall's. Then there's A&E Stage. There's a couple of those big ones. I know Pearson's another good venue as well. I mean, just gotta look around. I mean, there's plenty of bars. I mean,
Yeah.
there's plenty of music out here. I know actually, the second job I work at is actually in a restaurant too. We always bring in cover artists
Yeah.
to like come in and like sing Wagon Wheel, probably for the 10,000th time.
Look, if you want to make money in music, do country covers. You'll have a show every night of the week.
That's true. You also got to make sure you don't come in when there's like a big sporting event going on too. That was actually what happened with One Poor Soul. He came in, there was just like hardly anybody in there. It wasn't, I don't think it was really his fault, but even still, if you can't do that, it's not good look.
You mean like the first time we opened for Carnivore and Dying Fetus was playing?
You guys open, and there was like hardly anybody there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Dying Fetus was playing in New York City. Where we were was right across the bridge.
and they took all the fans. Oh,
So it was us to like 30 people and Carnivore to like 30 people.
actually, is that the Carnivore that Peter Steele had formed?
Yep.
I guess who they replaced him with?
His name is Baron. They are continuing and tribute to Peter. I guess him and Peter were good friends back in the day. It's
Hmm.
another New York band, actually. Typo Negative.
Typo Negative and Carnivore. Yeah. Actually, I remember hearing World War III and IV on the radio the first time. I was thinking, man, that was so badass.
Wow.
I mean, it was definitely a long song too, but hey, it was on the radio, and you got time to kill with a 10-minute or longer song. So
Yeah.
I think I also remember Kirk Weinstein in his interview with Loudwire. I think he talked about one of his friends who had taken his own life, unfortunately.
Mm.
I think at his funeral they played the entire Carnivore album. So I think he
That's
said the
pretty
first
cool.
album. I don't know how many they made, but it sounded pretty badass.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see Peter Steele and his music are
Mhm.
still alive. I guess the Typo Negative officially just closed out completely after Peter Steele passed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense.
I wouldn't expect anything to be done under that name again.
Probably not. But you never know. I mean, something's bound to happen.
I mean, Pantera came back, so.
Hey, let's stop in Typo Negative. So that's all good. Talk about the year. Goals and plans. I guess we can go ahead and jump into the fun questions right here. Probably think of something else along the way too, but let's go ahead and jump into the fun ones. Ready?
Yep.
So I guess let's start with the first one right here. I guess what would you consider as your favorite movie?
The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Who stars in that one? Is that
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood? That wasn't a Western, was it?
Yep.
I can't. It was a Western. Okay.
Yep.
Gotta refresh my memory a little bit because I think I remember the one was like Unforgiven. That was the one my dad really liked. He really loved Josie Wales.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of spaghetti westerns.
He's not Italian. I didn't think he was Italian.
But the directors were Italians.
Okay, fair enough. That makes sense because I always get a kick out of it too when they talked about it. And I'm thinking like, where are they getting the spaghetti western thing from? It turns out it was just because they were Italian heritage.
Yep.
So That makes sense. Can you just run through the good, bad, and ugly real quick? Maybe refresh my memory if I've seen something. What was it about?
Oh boy. How how to summarize a 4-hour movie?
That's how long it was. Just about.
Basically, Clint Eastwood and Tuco. It starts out with them conning people by hanging Tuco, then he'll shoot the rope. And it ends with the big standoff in the graveyard when they're looking for the gold. It's the movie Ecstasy of Gold comes from.
I see. Okay. I think it's kind of ringing a little bells. I think if I see a little clip, I think it will totally refresh my memory.
It's a really long movie.
I mean, so was The Irishman, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what was another one. I think the newest one from Martin Scorsese, Kills of the Flower Moon, they said was another long one. But
Wow.
Scorsese and all those guys, they kick some
Yeah. Oh
ass.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And Tarantino. I'm from Tarantino.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's such a good director.
He takes long breaks, but he always delivers on his movies.
Oh yeah.
So it would be nice to do like every 2 years. That would be nice, but I guess it's a lot harder than what you think. So
Oh yeah.
we'll respectfully give him his space and privacy. So
Yeah.
I guess for the next one, what would you consider as your favorite food?
Probably lasagna.
Lasagna? I guess you got a little bit of Italian in you.
I really like cheese. And lasagna is just a pasta cheese sandwich.
Actually, did you see that Geico commercial where they're just like grinding Parmesan cheese on top of that guy's pasta?
Yeah,
the whole
that's
time?
me.
It's like, just say when. It's like up to his decade or everything too. When?
I will never say when.
Never say when. But I'll take it in a box, please. So
Just give me all the cheese.
and I guess what would you consider as like your favorite cheese between like American, provolone, pepper jack, and all those guys?
Mozzarella.
He's a mozzarella guy. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I really like mozzarella.
I hate to say what you look like when you're eating cheese sticks, to be honest. Oh man, that's probably seeing you want to just back away from, to be honest. So
Yeah.
all right. This one deals with drinks. First off, do you drink by any chance?
Not very much.
You're more of a social drinker.
Yeah.
Okay. When you socially drink with friends, I guess, what's your drink of choice, and then what's your non-alcoholic choice?
Whiskey.
Straight whiskey.
Yep.
Well, I guess that explains the Western movies then. Especially just like going drinking
Yeah.
straight from all the rocks too.
Yeah. Non-alcoholic would probably be like Dr. Pepper.
Yes, we got another doctor. It's been a while since we got another doctor in the house.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people, they would actually say Coke products, but I guess Dr. Pepper can be lumped into that, right? I want to say yes, but I'm not too sure.
They're their own company. The Coke and 7-Up. Hold on. Is it the? I believe they're their own separate company, and they're owned by 7-Up too. Yes, Dr. Pepper 7-Up Incorporated.
Okay, makes sense. So, but I do love Dr. Pepper as well, even though my doctor unfortunately tells me back away from those sugary drinks as well. Which
Which doctor are you listening to?
The medical kind, not the.
Valid point. Yes. Yes. Good decision.
Yeah. Even though now again, it's good to have a social drink with friends and everything. Do you do the Jack Daniels on the rocks? Is that your whiskey of choice, or what's your favorite whiskey drink?
Right now, Blackened.
Blackened? Was that a?
Metallica's whiskey.
I was gonna say it was a Metallica whiskey brand. Of course.
Wow,
Who
I
else?
am painting myself as a real fanboy, but it's actually a really good whiskey.
Yeah. I guess speaking of Metallica, I guess. What do you think of that whole criticism with Lars Ulrich?
What criticism?
I mean, they'll say guy can't count. I mean, nothing really good about his drumming style or anything like that. I mean, I heard stories he was self-taught. So I mean, like, and he's been in the band for 40 some years now.
Well, you see, Lars's timing, at least right now, I can't speak for back in the day because I wasn't born yet. His timing is not the strongest, and it's most evident on the slowest songs they play. It was a little bit rough when they did Nothing Else Matters when I saw them. It just seemed like he's not very good at playing slow anymore. But he's a Metallica and they're not, so.
Who's the judge?
Yeah.
You know, I think you're so used to playing fast from like.
Lars has never been a good metal drummer. Lars has always been a punk drummer in a metal band. And when you look at it that way, it makes a lot more sense.
Well, that's fair.
He always does that punk shuffle.
Yeah. I would say definitely his hardest songs were Disposable Heroes and Dyer's Eve.
Oh, those are just hard songs on any instrument.
That's true, yeah.
You need to be a cyborg to play that on guitar for that long.
I would say I also I've done it on drums a good number of times. I'm actually a drummer and just playing on the side, really just goofing around. I mean, you always get a nice sweat afterwards.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I'm feeling like, okay, I just need a minute. I gotta breathe. So
the forearm tense when I play that on guitar, that for like a minute straight.
It's a good workout, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that also explains why they don't play it a whole lot in live anymore. I guess they every now and again, maybe. I'm not too sure, but I'll test my friends to see if they actually got that song. I'll have to see. So
I didn't, so
that's a shame, yeah. But speaking of which, would you say you would like to meet James Hetfield if you had the chance, or is there another celebrity you would love to meet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he would be my first go-to.
I guess it would be your second, living or deceased, regardless.
Who would be my second? Probably Rob Halford.
Judas Priest, the man himself.
Yeah.
He actually came out with a song. They came out with a new song recently, Panic Attack.
Yeah.
Oh, man. They're still kicking ass.
Did you hear their second new one that they just put out?
They actually have not put it on the radio, so what is it?
What's it called? Give me one. Trial by Fire. It came out Friday.
Did it? There's always a song Trial by Fire, too. In fact, I actually interviewed a guy yesterday whose band was called Trial by Fire, or at least one of his projects. So it's like, there's too many of you guys, too, because I know there's a Trial by Fire with Testament, too.
Yeah. It still amazes me at Rob's age he can still sing like that.
Oh, absolutely, too. Actually,
I've seen Priest every time they come around. And the fact that he can still nail Painkiller.
Does he still do the highs? I mean, I would think he would nail the highs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. I was going to doubt that. I mean, I got to understand if he was still able to, like, get some harmonics, but not like those high pitches anymore.
Oh, no. He does Painkiller like it sounds like it does on the album.
Oh, man. That's so bad.
But, like, also not. You can tell he's not just lip syncing it.
I mean, actually, how old is he? Is he in his late 70s?
He's in his 70s.
I mean, hey, it's a lot more wear and tear on the body now, but even still, the fact that he's doing that, that's amazing.
It's incredible.
Absolutely, too.
That's a show I can't wait to go to again.
God bless the man. So that's all good. All right. And for the last of fun questions, what would you consider as your favorite song at the moment?
To the Hellfire by Lorna Shore.
Oh, wow. That was Return to Nothingness. That's right. That was a little EP they did.
Yep.
Actually, I thought you would have said, Your Pain Remains. What was another good one? I think a Sun Eater was another one. And, boy.
Just the things Will Ramos can do with his voice, dude. Oh, my God. I
want to say he kind of backed away with that, with the Pain Remains, to be honest. That one, it seemed like he was able to, like, do, like, what would you call it? I mean, what would you call it near the end, too? It sounded like a pig or something like that. It was like, that sort of thing, too.
It's like a tunnel throat high with a pig squeal thrown on top. It's really, really weird, but it sounds so cool.
So metal, man.
Oh, my God. It is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
I mean, when I first started, I was thinking, like, what the fuck was that?
When I first heard it, I went, did they just get a pig in the studio?
I mean, I was actually kind of freaked out, to be honest, too.
It was one of those, I just laughed because my brain couldn't comprehend what just happened.
That's how you know they did their job right too.
Oh yeah, it was just, what was that?
Oh, absolutely. I actually didn't know a friend out of Germany who's real big into Lorna Shore, and I don't know if this tour is still happening, but if it is, hopefully they're still around. They were actually with Mastodon and Gojira.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be such a badass show to go see.
Oh yeah, Gojira's really good live.
I did see them live, so I can at least they were with Deftones actually.
I saw them with Slayer years ago.
Gojira?
Yeah.
Was that when Slayer was kind of like starting to wind down a little bit, or was that just like
This
one of
was
many?
2013.
When did Slayer retire? Was that 2016 or something?
2018ish. I
Something
don't
like
know.
I want to say they did the Repentless Kill a Tree, and I think that was when they just said they hung it up and said we're done.
2019.
2019. Okay. So yeah, they were still kicking ass then.
Yeah.
So.
But also, Tom really just wanted to be home with his kids.
Good man. I can tell you why, yeah, too.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of wear and tear when it comes to touring too. Is that?
Oh yeah.
I guess outside of hauling the gear, because I know the drums are one thing too. I guess what's the biggest challenges you guys face as musicians, as well as like touring too?
Yeah. Financially, just costs a lot of money to go out, do shows. From the gas to mostly the gas, the gear, the wear and the tear is real. Music stuff is not light. But getting in front of people's can be really hard, especially in an area like we are where there's no metal scene. We have to drive like an hour, 2 hours to a place where there is a metal scene.
I think Kane did mention that, yeah, too. I think he said there was a lot of hip hop and country. Was it kind of same in your neck of the woods?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tragic, to say the least.
Yeah.
So like then you got to pay them just to like come in and listen to your music.
Yeah.
So.
You just got to drive to find a place where there's a scene.
Kane also mentioned this too, but it seems like bars and I guess anyone who wants to like host music, for instance, they look more at Spotify, for instance. Is that kind of the same thing you've seen too?
I know a lot of them will look at Facebook to see how many likes you have on Facebook. Yeah, I could totally see a couple venues going by Spotify plays now, since that is a much better metric than, say, Facebook likes.
Well, it's not like anymore, like just see how many people you can bring in. I mean, wouldn't you think that'd be better if you're like, hey, we got these people out here, we got 100 people out here.
We got in with dingbats because they said we need you to sell 35 tickets, and we're like, okay. And they're like, okay, that's not a no. Then we sold 35. We sold 35 tickets, and they're like, you actually sold them?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you said that was, yeah.
Ooh.
This is you guys. No, it was, you guys stuck to your word. And I'm like, who hurt you?
Boy, we broke this poor guy. That's their thing.
Because I get it. Bands are, a lot of bands will talk a big game and then just pretend like, yeah. No, we did our best. We sold 3. It's like, well, I get it. You can't make money that way, but like, you can't promise they'll all show up to the show, but they bought tickets.
You got money.
So. You got the money.
What are you complaining about? I mean, be like, yeah. Okay, let's sign this guys up.
I get it. Being a promoter is hard.
I can imagine.
Because I know musicians, and musicians aren't the greatest of people sometimes.
Do tell. So
they can be quite selfish and just talk a big game and then just, oh well, I tried. So I get it, but like, it's just hard nowadays, man. It's hard to stand out from just the sheer deluge of music that exists today.
It is a saturated market, yeah.
Anybody with an iPhone can put down an album now. And that's a good thing. But it's also a bad thing because how are you supposed to get noticed through that? But it's a good thing that that expression is available for everyone. So it's a double-edged sword.
Like a lot of things are a double-edged sword these days. So, all right. And, I'll throw in one more fun question, too, because recently these lotteries have been getting a little out of hand recently, with sometimes getting as high as $500 million to $1 billion.
Yeah.
All right. If you were to win the lottery, just say you're Charlie at the chocolate factory, just get that golden ticket. Because what would you do when you got all the money, taxes, and everything paid? What would you do?
Buy a house.
Number one.
Buy a car from this century.
Like go with Tesla or something.
Oh, even a Ford. Just something from the 2000s.
I mean, I would go with Lambo, to be honest.
I'd be okay with a Ford Focus. I don't need a flashy car. And then I would contact a PR agency and run a actually decent advertising campaign for the band. I would fund seed capital in so we can up our merch game. And then do our best to set up a tour.
Go nationwide now.
Yeah.
Guess that would you get the bus, or would you want to fly by a private jet afterwards?
No.
No?
No, I'd probably buy a trailer too, but I won't pay the dues, man.
I mean, you're going to have to still pay dues doing gas, that's for sure. So. But you got the money at least, so.
Yeah.
At least I'll pay out. So.
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world. Which we are far from, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
So. But nonetheless, we still struggle. You guys are still kicking ass, so that's good.
Well, thank you.
All right. So, Frank, we're reaching the end of my podcast right here. We're down to one more question, but I guess before we jump into it, did you have any questions for me or any final words you want to say before we jump into it?
I just want to say thanks for having me on. Thanks for supporting us.
And following you on Spotify. I followed you guys there, so you got to do it.
Thank you.
So, that's good. All right. So, for the last question, you might have harped on that a little bit too, but this is how it goes. And it's one I always like to ask. Given what COVID has done, since obviously you got through a little bit of a struggle with it, but it seems you got out bigger and stronger and better for all the good. So I guess, what sort of message of hope would you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in a post-COVID world?
Now that the COVID lockdown is over and we're allowed to play music again, let's play it like we've never played it and give them a show.
Actually, well, there's a little bit more. I mean, normally people will talk for a good bit there, but hey, good one-liner. I'm glad waiting. Just making sure.
We went like a year without being able to play any live shows. So let's get out there and play as much as we can. That's what we're doing this for, right? To entertain people.
The whole gladiator thing. Are you not to entertain? That's
right?
Absolutely. All right. You spoke like a true prodigy. So, all right. So, Frank, we reached the end of the podcast right here. We talked a little under an hour, but it's all good. And I guess, did you have any final words, any shout outs you want to give before we close?
Come on the show, Glenn.
All right. I'll have to forward this to him maybe if he wants to do it, but you got anything else?
No.
All right. Sounds good. All so, everyone, my guest today was Frank Birkner, hailing from New Jersey right here. He's part of the band Edge of Chaos, so go check out Metal Group on Spotify. And I guess, so what are social media you guys on?
We are on Facebook and Instagram. And our Facebook would be facebook.com/edgeofchaos4. And our Instagram is @edgeofchaostv. And our website is edgeofchaosband.com.
All right. You heard it from this guy right here. So go hit him up on the socials. Go subscribe to their channels and all. Frank, thank you again so much again for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Rock on. Stay tuned, y'all.